I'm Lexy Davis, a love embodiment coach who helps people create a love that feels like home, and I'm here to bring more romance and playfulness into the world. I'm also an international retreat host, vibe curator, and human connector. I serve people through my business, Alive to Enjoy, and this podcast where I invite guests from around the world to sprinkle their wisdom and expand your perspective so you can create the deepest love you possibly can reach in this lifetime. I also want you to live the most joyous life, whatever that looks like to you, and I hope that this slice of the internet brings you lots of smiles and helps you keep your heart open. Thank you for choosing Heart Snuggles to be in your ears each week, and I'm so glad you're here with me. Welcome, Heart Snugglers. How's your heart today? I don't know. For me, it's been quite a hectic past few months, but I'm really grateful that we're having this session today. We're having Sabrina come on and share her magic. So go ahead and share a little bit about you.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me, Lexi. So, my name is Sabrina Zohar. I am a dating coach and the host of Do the Work podcast. I'm also an entrepreneur. I have a clothing line as well. So, I dabble in a little bit of things of everything and have kind of just found my path by helping people work through a journey that I experienced myself. And it's been a really beautiful process.
I didn't know you had a clothing company too.
Yeah. That was started 7 years ago when my mom got sick. So I started that after she got sick and I wanted to do something for her. And she's, thank goodness, still with us. But that was my first baby. And then that by doing that was how I realized I love to like speak with people and do panels and podcasts. And I'm a firm believer that you get what you need, not necessarily what you want. And in my journey, I've gotten what I need way more than what I wanted.
I resonate with that a lot.
Yeah. But being open to that surrender has been such a great experience, even when you don't want to be.
That's
Like,
that's the ultimate path, surrender. Constantly being reminded that. Yeah, I know. So the first question is, what was the last random act of kindness someone did for you?
ooh, someone did for me. It's so funny. I wasn't thinking about that. Does this random act of kindness from a stranger? It doesn't matter.
It can be someone you love. Usually it's where
Okay.
people go. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I haven't, truthfully speaking, I haven't been around a lot of like a lot of strangers. I would say the most random act of kindness that somebody has done for me recently. It sounds so small, but it's like my partner just makes me food. And like he'll always, even just when he knows I'm back to back with clients or I have like 7 hours of things, I literally will open up the door and just see like a sandwich on the ledge or like a juice or something. And it's like I just hear him and he's like, don't forget to eat. I'm like, okay, thanks. So I think just little things like that mean so much to me, or even like when someone just holds the door open for me, it's like they add up to make,
Yeah.
especially when you had a shit day.
Yes. No, I love that. Man, having food ready is such a gift. I can every day. That makes me feel so supported.
When I say I like, I think that the word manifest has gotten so muddied, like, but when I say I truly like really brought this into my life for years, all I would ever say was like, I'm happy to do the work. I'm happy to do all this stuff around the house, but don't make me cook. And I was like, I just want a man that's going to cook and make me food all the time. And it's like, and boy, did I get that. So I
Ooh.
am very grateful.
Ah, that makes my heart so happy for you. Ah, yay. Okay, thanks for sharing that. And the next is, what is a shameful memory you have around relationships from when you're younger or any part of your life that just to normalize some things for
Oh,
people?
man, so many. I had so many experiences because I lived in Florida until I was 18. That's where I'm from. And then I moved to New York for 12 years. So
Mm.
I like grew up in New York literally by just learning how to be a fucking adult. And I think the first thing that came to mind was really kind of how my entire career started was like I was the poster child for anxious attachment style. And that was me to a T. And I had exhibited some behavior that now, when people tell me, of course, I can hold space and compassion for them because I understand it. But at the time when I would do this, I literally thought I was fucking crazy and that there was just something wrong with me. And I think one of the things I used to do, two things. One was using my body in order to connect with people because I always felt that if I couldn't have the depth or the emotionality, I always just thought, no, I'm super horny. Oh, yeah, no, I'm just that. And it's like, yeah, okay, I am, but not to this extent where I would self-abandon. I would give of myself to people that I didn't even fucking know this person. Like I remember one guy going to the park. I'll never forget. It was snowing, it was winter, and I took my dog to the dog park with him. I was so turned on by him that in the middle of the park, I took off my coat. It's like 2 degrees out and I'm sweating like a pig. And I took him back to my house and we hooked up. And it's like, I knew this guy for maybe 30 minutes. And
Mm.
I don't blame myself for what I did, but just by thinking that was all I had to offer was just something that it's not a way that I would ever encourage anybody to connect with other people. That and like just the amount I used to text people from anxiety was not something I'm ever really proud of.
Yes. Oh,
I was
on.
gonna say, I was like, your face tells me that this is not the first time you've heard of like behavior like this.
No, and I've been there many times. Yeah, it's crazy when we're not aware and it's just our body's taking over and we're just doing these things. We're like, what just happened? What am I doing? Like,
Literally, you're just, it's some of those moments where even when like I'll talk to clients and they're like, I don't even recognize myself or the thoughts don't make sense. And it's like, that's welcome to that beautiful word called anxiety. And when we're dysregulated and you're triggered and your body, you're like a feral cat when you're just like, I need to keep myself safe. It's wild the ways that our body and our mental state will try to do that.
yeah, we don't even realize that we're operating off of instincts. And it's just like this primal need for safety and for things. But like, since we're not regulated, like you just said, in the correct way, we're doing these things that are just outlandish. So, yeah, definitely resonate with that. Thanks for sharing. And would love to know, I kind of want to actually just go into this topic of this when people are connected so extremely chemically, like via attraction, versus actually being connected to like the heart and the peace and the regulation. So can you talk on that?
Totally. I mean, listen, that's the biggest thing between compatibility and chemistry. It's like you can have chemistry with somebody. And oftentimes what happens is like that spark, the spark that everybody is chasing is really just your nervous system being dysregulated more often than not. Because it's like when I think back on all the times I had the spark, it's like, what was the common denominator? Did I have the spark with the guy that was like really healthy and incredible and aware and open? No. I had the spark with the person that was a fuckboy or emotionally unavailable or a narcissist who showed up beautifully but knew exactly what to do. And I think a lot of the times, especially with dating now, it's like we're chasing a feeling. You know, you want that feeling of, I want to feel this or I want to feel this. And so when a lot of people will go out and date, they're going really based on like, but I didn't feel anything inside versus understanding, you're right. I'm not saying that you should be with someone that you think is Shrek. If you are like wildly unattracted to this person, you don't even want them to touch you. No, I'm not saying
No.
you need to force yourself to be like, but hey, but they're nice to me. I don't need the spark, right? The pendulum doesn't have to swing to such extremities, but there's a difference between connecting with somebody on a level where you feel seen, heard, understood, you feel safe, you feel like this person, like that ride or die, you feel like this person, no matter what, will have your back and doesn't judge you and isn't ridiculing you. That can only happen when you've created a connection of depth. That happens through adversity, through intimacy, that happens through conflict and resolution, that happens by seeing somebody in different environments and falling for this person because of how they handle these things and how they support you through it versus the really hot guy that you met on Hinge that you had one date with and oh my god you want to rip his clothes off because there's that attraction and that chemistry, but you have no idea, is that guy married, is that guy open for a relationship? It's like we're just going off the primal instincts, which is fine if that's what you want. I'm not going to judge you. You want to just hook up and you want to get dick down, like good luck, enjoy your time, leave and expect nothing. But if you really want to build that relationship of depth, I think what a lot of people, especially anxious folks, don't really want to hear is that like that takes time to really get to know somebody.
Yep. Yeah, it's so true. And recognizing like that's something I always talk about too. It's like how do they handle conflict? Like how do you moving through that? How do they support you through it? Like that's so huge. How do they show up and treat other people? Like there's so many other qualifiers that are so important to recognize versus just that like attraction up right away. So thanks for bringing that in here.
Yeah. Like, trust me, I wish it was so easy. I wish that's all it took was just being like, oh yeah, that guy's hot. Oh, great, it's compatible. And it's like, I understand when people will get confused or I don't understand, but why can't we make it work? And it's like, because to be in a relationship requires a ridiculous amount of transparency, authenticity, communication, converse. It's one giant fucking conversation. That's what a relationship is. You're always talking about how you feel and what's going on and how you can't stand that person, but you love them so much and they fart all the goddamn time. And so please stop doing that in my way. There's always something. And I think that fallacy that people just, no, I just want to feel good. It's like, well, you're not going to get to that level until you understand what it takes to actually show up as that partner.
Yep. Yeah. And I was just talking to someone was just telling me this other day. They're like, I just get the ick out of every guy. And I'm like, well, you're being avoidant then because that is not what love is. It's really finding that person who you're gonna accept them fully. And that's a hard thing to do, or at least bring in like you can't just find everything that's wrong with them because that's not how love works. Yeah.
No, what that usually will do is that I'll actually just keep you further from it because a lot of the times when somebody is so particular about every single thing about a person, that perfectionism is because you know it's unattainable. You know you're never actually going to find someone. And like I had a client I was talking to and she's feeling really insecure and she asked a guy out, but then she followed it up with, "Oh, but if you don't want to, it's okay." And I asked her, like, where did that, what came up for you in that moment? And she was like, I think I knew by being able to cancel it, I wouldn't have to show parts of myself. I wouldn't have to be vulnerable if I just said, never mind, because there, that requires a different level of communication and vulnerability than I'm comfortable with. And
Yeah.
so it's like, I'm with you. You can, here's the funny thing. The girls that always say, I have an ick about everything, it's like, really, accept the emotionally unavailable fucking asshole. That's the guy that you can find. No, the red is your favorite color, but yet the guy that has his Velcro wallet, all of a sudden, like he's out. And I'm not saying that like we should just accept everything. When I met my partner, two things stood out. I hated his car. I was like, it's so ugly. I hate the color. And I hated his fashion. I was like, he dresses, his clothes are too tight. I don't like it. Of course, there were little other things like his hair was too short, all those little things. I easily could have been like, no, I'm getting the ick. I don't even want it. Nah, 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 nah. But I remember my mama's famous words. She was like, Sab, it's my nephew calls me, so everyone calls me. She's like, Sab, you can change that. And it's not about changing somebody. I'm not saying enter it in being like, I can manipulate. No, we're not
Mhm.
changing who he is. But now, guess who grew his hair out? Guess who's looking at a new car? Guess who started to say, hey, babe, do you like me when I wear this? Hey, babe. Because he's like, it's not that I don't like what I wear. He's like, but if I know that you find me attractive in certain things, I'm okay with that. Those are the easy things that can be shifted. But it's like, who is this person at their core? That's what we're looking at.
Yeah. And remembering just for self-reflecting too, like if you can't expect anyone to show up and be this, I think people are so caught up on these lists now that it's like really pushing away from real love because it's not about the list. Like it's so much deeper than that. And yeah, like you just said, it's like you don't want to be vulnerable. And that's why you often find people just dating, like not actually committing because it's easier that way.
Chasing a feeling. You're chasing the feeling of courtship, especially like a lot of people like that we have that the anxious and avoidant trap. It's like there's a reason if you find yourself in a pattern, if you're consistently saying, wow, I keep dating, the same thing keeps happening to me,
Mhm.
we can't look and go, well, it's everyone but me. It's like, you are the common denominator. I'm not saying you're doing anything wrong, but sometimes it could even be something as simple as like, let's tighten up those boundaries and stop allowing people to walk all over you. That could be your part in things.
Mhm. Yes, and I would love to hear what your thought is on like love at first sight and these like it's only real love if you know from the first moment kind of vibe.
I think whoever wrote that has never been on planet Earth. It's kind of the same thing as like, so I think what we've learned, especially now in the world, is people love bumper sticker slogans. People love chalking up things into 140 characters or less. So, like, if he wanted to, he would. Oh, well, you know what? I must just not want it bad enough. There it is. Wow. Thank you so much for not, for taking so much nuance in psychology and chalking it up to three words.
Yeah.
When you'll know when you know. No, you don't. Okay. That's not real life. I think what that is, it's like that's Disney fairy tale that looks great on an Instagram story. But the reality is, it took me 5 months to say yes to my partner, to saying to being his girlfriend. And it wasn't because I was all of these other things. I didn't know him well enough. He took a long time to open up. He is more avoidant. I'm more anxious. So we were navigating each other, and I didn't want to rush into something.
Mm.
I don't listen. I know that there's people like my sister. She met her husband at 18. And when I talked to her and she's like, I never forget, I turned to him, his dad and said, I'm marrying your son. And it's like, and they got married. Cute, great. But even when I ask her now, like, did you know from the moment you met him? And she's like, I just thought he was hot. It's like, I thought he was an attractive guy. But I think if you're living for that feeling, if you're waiting for like the stars and the star for everything to align, let me know when you're 50 and single still how that's going for you. Because if you're waiting for something to let you know that this is your person without getting to know somebody and actually dating them, that's, I think, going to be you're chasing the feeling and you're probably going to end up with somebody that's not good for you.
Exactly.
It's
Thanks.
kind of like the twin flames thing. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
yeah.
That type of thing of like, oh, they're my twin flame. And I'm like, for fuck's sake.
No.
I
I-
will tell you this. My partner and I'm a Taurus. He's a Gemini. We're apparently the worst together. I love him. You know, like,
Yeah, yeah. People, yeah, it's just so sad because also like people are just trying to social media has become such a like educational, people get all the resources from there and I feel bad because they think they're doing the right thing and I'm like, on it.
no, it's like, look at the whole like Kristen Cavallari thing with that I don't know if you saw like all the spoofs about her episode. She did a podcast and she's like, if a guy doesn't text me once, you guys, if I text a man once and he doesn't respond back, guys, I never text him again. Match his energy. And the amount of spoofs that I did one myself of like, just how far off reality that is. And like, I get it. I totally understand. If you're coming from a place of trauma, I'm not blaming you for have these thoughts. But if it's not working for you and you're just constantly going from, it's been 15 years you've been dating and it's just been shit for 15 years. I think what we need to do is we need to look and go, your goal of wanting a relationship doesn't need to change, but the plan of how you're doing this certainly does. Because I was that girl that did the texting thing. And if I did that with my partner, guess who wouldn't be with this person right now?
Mhm. Yeah. And that like the matching energy, the playing games, like I remember like being caught in that and like, in high school, I'm like, well, I have to wait 3 days to text him back because he took 3 days to text me back. And then I was like, what am I doing? That's not what I want. And that's not what love is. And yeah, it might be more brave, more vulnerable to text back immediately, but that's like, it's just so silly. That's a thing.
It's like you said, it's gamifying dating. I think dating, the best way I can put it to it, it's like the dating apps. They're like a casino. They're not there to help you grow. They're there to take your money and to gamify the system. So if
Mhm.
you're going to play into it, you can't be shocked when you get players that are also doing that. It's like chase the chase. If you want to chase somebody, let me ask you, what mental state are both of you in?
Mm.
Because the person that's doing the chasing only gets their validation because they can't have what they want. And so they're going to work harder. The person that's being chased gets their validation because someone's working really hard to get them. When the rubber meets the road, oh no. Then all of a sudden you get the like, I just don't understand. Like everything we did, we were doing this. And then all of a sudden when they got me, they left. It's like because they were chasing a feeling, they were never chasing you. It's not about you. It's about the validation that they get because of this game that they're playing. And the quickest way you want to fucking kibosh that, show up as yourself. That's it. Like I'm the type that I had for years, I had people telling me you text back too quick. And like I had one guy at my own event, I had a software event, and this was supposed to be one of my quote unquote friends. And he was literally, there was another guy that was there and he was like a big, to do in the community. And he and I, like, we just vibed. We just had like a great time. And at the end of the night, the guy that's big in the community was talking to the other dude that I know. And he was trying to say, he was like, yeah, she just doesn't get a clue. She just keeps showing up. Like nobody wants her around, but yet here she is. And then I looked and he goes, but I'll tell you one thing about Sabrina, she's a fast texter. And I'm standing there. I'm literally, and I looked at him and I said, I'm sorry, can I just get this straight? Are you talking about me? That like I don't get the hint and all that? And he goes, well, I will say, no matter what, will text back. And the guy that was there that was the big to do, clearly this guy's trying to make an impression. He like kind of turns to me and he looks and he goes, I'm sorry, so you're her friend? You're her friend and you're speaking about her like this. And he goes, you know what? She texted me really quick and I really appreciated that because I was able to make my plans by knowing what it is that she wanted. And the guy that was there, look, you could see he was a little embarrassed. And it's like, so for every person that thinks that you're to all of that, mind you, that guy's 43 and single still, living in Venice,
Yeah,
playing that game. Let's just preface where everybody's at. If you're one to one person doing that, but then look to the other person, it was, but I like that about them.
exactly. Yeah. Ouch. First off, like, what the fuck?
I
Oh
know.
my
But
God.
you know what? It was one of those moments where I left and I was like, thank you for showing me who you are.
Yes,
Because yes,
exactly.
it bummed me out. But at the same time, like my mama says, you can please some of the people some of the time, but you can't please all the people all the time.
Yeah. No, that's so true. And what about for someone who is chasing this feeling? What can they do to redirect and actually find real love and not the feeling?
I think the biggest thing is like to stop and address like when you're going off that feeling that you get, like what's happening in your body. Just
Mhm.
to take a second to stop and be like, wait a minute, can I turn this inwards? Can I introspectively? Because if you're anxious and you're chasing that feeling or avoidant, whatever, it doesn't really matter, however, what other side of the coin, if you can stop and turn that inwards and be like, what's coming up for me? okay, well, what's the narrative that's playing? Like when I'm doing all this, because you might be in that feeling of chasing. Let's say you're the person being chased or you're the person that's chasing, and you're just going, if you stop to go, okay, what's the thought process? Well, I have to work harder because if I don't work harder, this person's not going to want me. Okay, wait a minute. Let's start talking about that.
Yeah.
Because if we actually start to dissect what's happening in your body and what's the thought processes that are starting to happen, when we start to trail that back, I can almost put money on it has nothing to do with this person. It has everything to do with what they signify. Oh, they're like your mother. Oh, your mom was super dismissive of you. Got it. And she was really rude to you growing up. So you always felt you had to prove yourself. Funny how here we are. So I
Yeah.
think if anybody is in this constant state of a chase or always looking for that feeling, what's happening is you're running away so hard from addressing the feelings that you're not getting and that you're so, it's like a drug addict.
Yeah.
You're going after the next fix that you haven't stopped to take a second to understand what's causing me to go after that.
Everything's related back to things that haven't been felt. It's so crazy.
It's Freudian, but it's like, and it's cheesy and cliche as it is. It's like, but it's accurate.
It's
You know
true.
what I mean? Like,
Like, that's so true. Yeah. And my whole work is around that. It's like the self accountability and responsibility. Like everything, if you just stop and stop, anytime you're blaming or pointing the finger outward, you're never going to get anywhere. Like it's just not it. And so the more you can start to be like, all right, how is this a reflection of me? How are they mirroring me? How can I take some accountability here? That's actually when you're going to see the change.
100%. And especially because then you're also able to actually address issues and not just keep putting band-aids on them. Because it's like, if you stop to go, okay, what's this feeling in my body? I feel it here and here. If I ask you, have you ever felt this before? Of course I felt it before. Great. When's the first time you remember feeling this? Usually by doing that, you're like, oh, I see what you're doing here. It's like we're removing the mask. It's not about this other person because, oh, wow, conveniently. So every single one of these dating experiences all ends up the same and you always feel the same, but yet it's not them
Hmm.
or it's always them. You know, it's always that it's somebody different. It's like,
Yeah. No. Comment. I remember when someone first told me that, I was like, ah,
same.
ouch.
I remember
It's
my
so
sister
true.
saying that. She
Yeah.
told me, she was like, you're the common denominator. And I was like, you just don't know what dating feels like. And it's like, she wasn't wrong though, because I was just repeating the same behavior over and over, wanting people to show up for me differently without realizing I need to show up differently in order to receive different.
Yep. Yeah. But when you do that and make the change, it's like, oh, okay, yay.
You can't unsee it.
Yeah, you can't unsee it. And I also want to touch really back on the if he wanted to, he would, because it's so frustrating and like makes me so sad because that's not true. If he wanted to, he would. So riff on that.
I because what it is, it's listen, even something as simple as like, well, if he wanted to call me, he would. And it's like, how do you know what his day is like? How do you know how people connect to texting? How do you know about what somebody's going on? Maybe, here's a fucking thought. Maybe the person you went on a date with doesn't like brunettes. So maybe it's not about, well, he just doesn't want me. Maybe you're just not his type. Maybe this person likes this versus that. Maybe this person likes that versus this. Maybe this person is going through a ton of fucking mental health shit and doesn't know how to articulate that. It's the same as when I'm like, oh, really? You don't want to be anxious anymore? Oh, well, then you must not want it bad enough. Because if you really wanted to, you would, right? If that's the same mindset, if we're going to hey, if we're going to have no compassion for other people, then let's not have compassion for ourselves, shall we? So if
Mm.
you're not going to understand it takes bandwidth and tools and time and all that, and you just want to chalk, well, if he wanted to, he would. I had somebody actually say, the person has a bunch of trauma and they refuse to work on it in order to be with me. If he really wanted to, he would.
Mm.
So you think that this person's going to take years. So what that's saying is that what you're saying to yourself is, I'm not enough. I'm not enough to make this person. You could be the Queen of Sheba. You could be a fucking gold statue brought from the gods above, put in front of him of every chisel that he's ever asked for. And he'll still say, that's too shiny. When someone's not ready to receive, when someone's not in that headspace, it doesn't matter how much they want anything.
Mhm.
It just doesn't. And I've had people that be like, I want it so bad. And I'm like, but you have limiting beliefs, right? You have your own stuff. So it is not about want. And again, if you're just going to chalk up everything to 140 characters or less, let me know how shallow and bullshit your life is then. Because if you can't understand psychology and what actually takes, because if it were that fucking easy, then everyone that's in therapy would just feel better.
Yep.
It's just not realistic. And it takes away what's involved in actually making long-standing changes. And if you think that you can change other people, you are gravely mistaken, because you couldn't change your parents. You couldn't change your mother or father. You couldn't do anything. No matter how you behaved wasn't changing who they were. But yet all of a sudden in your adult life, you suddenly seem to think that they must not want it bad enough. And there's all these issues with them. But yet you haven't fucking stopped to look at yourself to say, well, what are your expectations? You really think someone's going to change for you? Because you say you want a relationship because you're so amazing, you don't think that person knows that there's 9 billion fucking people on the planet and that they'll just meet someone else? I know.
No. And
It sucks.
it sucks. It's so sad. I'm like, where's your heart? Hello, do you have any compassion for this person? Like, yeah.
Well, and it just shows you that, like, without the compassion for them, the other people, it's like they probably don't have a lot of compassion for themselves,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And also, we're also so quick from like a female to male perspective. Like, we're ready to attack men at any chance. We're like, fuck him. Like, did it. We're just like so on guard. And like, even when you like tell your girlfriends like one thing that's going wrong, they're like, dump him, leave him. Like, it's just like we're so ready to just destroy men. And I feel so bad for them.
And especially, I hate to break it to all the women that are doing that, you're not any better. Because I get the males that come to me and it's like that anxiety. I get it. Listen, don't get me wrong. People fucking suck. It's not just men or women. People have issues. But the amount of people that'll come to me of like spewing shit. And it's like, well, how are you showing up? Oh, he's not doing all of these things. It's like, maybe because you called him 70 fucking times. Did you ever think about that? Did you ever stop to think about how you impact other people? Because your email to me is making me anxious. So I could only imagine what this person receiving you is like. And it's true. It's like my mom used to be like that. She would always, anytime I'd say something, well, fuck that person. And I finally had to tell her, I was like, we can hold two conflicting thoughts. This person could have thought that, but that we also don't need to tell them to fuck off.
Yeah.
Not everybody, if you take everything as everyone's trying to hurt you, everything is going to be, oh, all this, it's fear based.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens when you get scared? Like a feral cat, you could react. And so I think whenever I hear that, I'm like, yo, if your friends are in the group chat being like, men are trash, and you need to get a new fucking group of friends. Because show me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. It's terribly sad. I've actually like just in the past week saved 2 relationships because like I came to you instead of my friends because I know they were just gonna shut them down. And I was like, oh, we need to shift this. Like yep, that's not okay. So I
No,
just
I'm
hope,
with you.
yeah.
I've gotten a few of those of like, I had one of my clients and she was literally about to break it off because something her daughter told her. And we talked it through. And she even said, she was like, thank God I talked to you first. Now they're meeting their friends and family and they're doing the holiday stuff. It's like, we have to remember that people are fucking humans. And if we can't allow them to be humans, then what is like, then so then you're just not going to let yourself show up as one either.
Yeah, and like really to me, like a long-term relationship is committing to someone to do this work with, like to do like move through the hard things and really the safer the relationship, the more your shit's gonna come up. And so it's like knowing that's part of it and you have to choose who you want to do that with. So throwing in the
100%.
towel ain't the answer.
It's not. It's not. And it's at the very least, it's like everything now with all this advice of like, just walk away. And it's like, so whatever happened to communication? Match their energy. It's like, how about you just talk to this person? Like, instead of us making an assumption, instead of you creating, like, I do that all the time. Like the other night, I was sitting with my partner and he was watching something, and it was yesterday, he was watching football. And I should know that football reigns supreme. He even said, from 1 to 4, I'm dead to you. That's my team. And I was like, okay, I respect that. Like, you made that a boundary. And I came down and I was sitting next to him, and he just like, I was dead to him.
Yeah.
And in my head, I started creating this entire narrative. I'm like, he's done. He's moved on from me. He doesn't like me. And I literally sat and I was like, all right, you had your party, Sabrina. Like, you allowed yourself to go there. You know that this isn't it. And then sure enough, halftime came on and all of a sudden he attacked me with kisses. And I was like, okay, this is what I mean by, if we can't look at other people to be like, can I not let this person be a human? Maybe this person doesn't want to talk right now.
Yeah.
Are we not allowed to just let people be?
Yeah.
And if you want everyone to be in a specific way, well, then it sounds like, well, then how are you showing up? Are you Miss Perfect? No.
And if you are, then that isn't the real you. So yeah.
Exactly. I was going to say, then, oh, yeah, good luck with that one.
Yeah. Yeah. And just a side note on that too, like men are single focused. So when they're like dedicated to like it's not that they don't love you, but it can feel like it feels like rejection to us, but really they're just focused on that game. And like that's the thing, or they're focused on their work. But I love how you said as It's like, okay, break. I love you. Like, it's so
100%.
cute. Yeah.
Well, they even said like multitasking was created when cameras were or computers were invented. Multitasking wasn't a thing. We're not technically, hence why, when you try to do 30 things at once, you're not great at any of them because as women, yes, we can. I could be driving while thinking about 300 things, or like even my partner, I can see his limitations. I'll be talking to him while he's texting and he'll be like, babe, I can't. I'm trying to do this one thing. And I'm like, wow, you can't just like that. Right. No, because their brain doesn't work that way. And what am I going to do? Take this personally? No, I'm going to be a fucking adult about it and be like, okay, you work differently than I do.
Mm. Yep. Yeah. Plain and simple. Yeah. Yeah. So I think that too, communication is the number one thing. And it's like the more we can talk about our expectations, talk about these stories we're having in our head, like just when you can talk through anything, you're gonna find a resolution and it's either to bring you closer or maybe you're not meant to be together. But still, like instead of being so much in your head about everything, like just the more you can talk about whatever is coming through in your body or your mind, you're gonna be at peace.
That is a healthy relationship is one giant conversation. Like that's why when people are like, I can't say that to them, and I would never ask those questions on a first date, it's like, that's cool. Let me know the depth of your relationship then. Let me know how things evolve. If you're so terrified of asking how'd your last relationship end and what did it teach you about yourself, I didn't say to talk about an ex. I'm talking about how it ended and what you learned about yourself. If that's scary to you, then no, you're probably not ready for a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. If that's scary to you, that feels overwhelming, then I would say then it's probably time to start challenging yourself a little bit more and putting yourself in some uncomfortable positions. Because if you play safe, again, let me know how the view is from the ground floor. You're never going to get to the penthouse to see how beautiful it is.
Yes, and let's dive more into that, the anxiety that comes up with the early stages of dating and the anxiousness and the like, oh, does he like me? Does he not? Like this kind of energy. Yeah.
So depending, I mean, here's the thing. Anxious attachment styles is a spectrum, like anything. Attachment styles are a spectrum. So like I think the common misconception is I'll hear this all the time. No, I'm great in every other area. It's just when I'm dating. And it's like, no, no. It's the same with being avoidant. When you're avoidant, that's how you handle things in life. It's not just in this one area. I am anxious in every part of my life. There is none of my friends are going to be like, what, you have anxiety? It's like, please, I open my mouth and you can fucking hear it. Like, let's not pretend. So I think when it comes to that, it's like it's a spectrum. I might have some anxiety, but that doesn't mean I self-identify as an anxious person because I can fluctuate. I'm more secure in a lot of things now that I've been working through a lot of things in my business. I'm not as anxious about it anymore. So I think when people have those, all of this fear and this thing, there's a certain amount of normalcy, let's say, of anxiety. Of course, it's the fear of the unknown. It's normal to be like, oh, I wonder if this is going to work out, or I wonder if this guy likes me, or I wonder if I'm ever going to hear from them again. Okay, that's just you being a person. And it's like when you go and get a job interview. Oh, I wonder if I'm going to get it, or I wonder if I'm going to win this. Yeah, okay. But the difference is, it's one thing to be like, oh, yeah, okay, cool. Or hey, I hadn't heard from this guy in a couple of days. All right, well, maybe he's not that into me. What are you going to do? Yeah. Versus this intense, anxious attachment that's like palpable, where a mere moment in the day can't go by because they didn't text me and I looked and it's been 13 minutes since they text me and they haven't been back. That is the anxious attachment style because that's a fear of abandonment. That is being that hyper vigilance and being so hyper focused and finding emotional permanence, trying to feel safe in that space because that's your body being able to say, okay, now we're safe, being able to recognize that. So when I'm with them, oh, I'm okay. Yeah, because they're fucking there. So your body is going, the threat is gone. We have this person. And when we put people on a pedestal, you're reenacting child parent dynamic. And that's why when we tell our nervous system, I'm only safe if I have them, that's why you're triggered by every fucking little thing because you're so terrified of losing them. And you know who you should be scared of losing more than anything on this planet? Your fucking self. That should cause your nervous system to get dysregulated when you lose you, when you self abandon and you start to go to them and you start to worry about, well, but I didn't hear from him for 13 hours. Oh my God, he must not like me. And you start to attack yourself. That's not a healthy amount of anxiety and uncertainty. That's you just putting yourself through an unnecessary amount of turmoil because your traumas have not been resolved.
Yep. Yep. And it's so uncomfortable to sit with those feelings. They're really intense. They take over your entire body. I've been there so many times. And it's easy to be like, to fixate on them, but it's once again the time to be like, alrighty, what can I do here? That's a little bit different.
Every time I say, I'm like, anytime you have that anxiety, the minute you say they, them, why, bring it to yourself. What's happening to me? What's going on in my body? Where is this happening in my body? What is coming up for me? What is this reminiscing? What is this reminding me of? When have I felt this before? Even if it's not an exact memory, it doesn't fucking matter. But by bringing it to yourself, what you start to also do is realize it's less about other fucking people and more about yourself. My
Mhm.
mama has always said, you got to love yourself more than the need to be loved by other people. Because if you're constantly waiting for them to validate you, who the fuck are you? You don't stand for something, you fall for everything.
Yeah, no. And I also want to like put it out there that you don't have to be perfect and have all these things figured out before being in a relationship. However, like having the awareness and even being able to communicate these things to this person you're dating is what is needed. My love, you've built a life, you've built the career, you've built the success. But when it comes to love and softening and receiving, you're always the one in control, always thinking, planning, and doing. What if you didn't have to? Soft Girl Season is your invitation to melt into life where you feel safe, supported, and adored, where you actually can trust men, trust God, and trust yourself. Inside, women have found their dream partners, started receiving clients with less effort, and watched their men step up to pamper, cherish, and adore them, all by learning how to soften into their feminine energy. They've gone from feeling numb and guarded to magnetic, deeply loved, and radiant. So if you're ready to stop over functioning and start being treated like a queen, come inside Soft Girl Season and let yourself be the woman who has it all. Join us using the link in the show notes and receive instant access and start being provided for by God and men.
Emotional intelligence, emotional awareness, that self-awareness, like that's what's required. It's not, I am not even close to perfect as much as I'd love to pretend I am, but I'm not. And it's like, I'm a fucking human. I do stupid shit all the time. And my partner and I still love each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's something I struggle with so much is like every time I mess up, I'm like, oh no, oh no, it's gonna be over. I'm done. Like, and that's not what love is. If it is done from that, then that is not your person.
No. And it's like, we think about that, like, where did I learn this from? It's like, yeah, if you were growing up where if you opened your mouth and your dad would walk out, of course you're terrified that every little thing that you do is going to scare someone else. But we
Mhm.
have to remember there's no such thing as being abandoned in your adulthood. You're not being abandoned. You're not seven. At
Yeah.
7, yeah, you're being abandoned,
Mm.
not at 30.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that. I haven't heard that. It's so true.
Yeah, because it's just that's the reality is like if you have that abandonment wound, that's fine, but you got to work through that because this person that you have, that's why I always say, I'm like, people always say, well, when can I attach to someone? No, you don't. You connect. When you attach to somebody, what you're saying is, I'm only okay if I have them. That's codependent. I'm only okay if this person's in my life. I'm only okay if I have them. And I did that with my dog. When he was alive for 10 years, I was like, I would joke. I'm like, he can never die. No, this is like, he has to be alive. And when he passed away unexpectedly, talk about the universe being like, psych, and it pulled the wool from under my feet.
Mm.
The rug was pulled out from under me. And thank God it was. Not thank God he died. I really wish every day he hadn't. But thank God I was awoken
Mm.
because what it made me realize was the more I attach to having other people, the lonelier I'll become because I'm so disconnected from myself, worrying about keeping them here that I've
Mm.
never stopped to think about how do I keep me here?
Yeah. Oh, it's so beautiful and so true. And I mean, our first instinct is to attach. So it's human nature to feel that. And also, it's like, okay, this isn't sustainable though.
That's why we have to be so aware of like woo woo, like even being able to say, I'm doing it again. That's a lot for like some people don't even realize it.
Yes.
So even just that awareness of, oh, okay, I did it again, it's a step to show
Mhm.
yourself some fucking grace.
Yes, the little celebrations are so important. And I think that's also why people get hung up on the person that doesn't want them because they're like, ooh, that attachment of like needing their validation, and it's easy to fixate on them and then stop living your life because you're like, I need to get them back, I need to get them back, I need to get them back.
100%. And it's like, and you're so hyper focused on, and not to mention, it's like, then we start to look at it, it's like, what are the traumas that they're triggering? What's coming up for you? It's like, rarely. That's why when people are so obsessed with someone that doesn't want them back, I'm like, this is so classic. Like, I don't really try, I don't care to find out about the other person because no one on this planet is that amazing that if they don't want you, that you could be completely enamored by them.
Mm.
You didn't date Ryan Reynolds, so get the fuck out, okay? Like this person, I'm sure you had a great connection. That doesn't mean you need to pine after somebody who doesn't want you. Instead, what we need to look at is what is that representing to you?
Yeah, so what do you tell someone that's like going through a breakup and is so sad and just constantly obsessing over their ex and they can't get out of that state.
My first thing is like to allow yourself to feel the emotions that are coming up. Are you angry? Let yourself be angry. Are you sad? Let yourself be sad. That's the first thing. The second thing is you got to fucking accept it. You got to accept that this breakup has happened. That's the denial that most people will be in. Like I remember I had one where I was talking about a video of breakups and a girl wrote like, I like, you're so insensitive. It's been 3 years and I haven't moved on because we had an incredible connection, blah, blah. And a therapist actually wrote like therapist here chiming in. No, this is called denial. And I was like, thank you. Like there's bullshit. Okay. Listen, you can be sad. You can feel, stop trying to tell yourself, move on, get over it. No, you don't have to do any of that. The more you allow yourself to feel these things and accept it, what you also have to do is you're not just accepting the fact that the relationship is over. You're also mourning the death of the future you thought you were going to have and this projection that you thought you were going to have. So the number one thing I would always say too, make them a real person. Take the shine off your ex. Nah, they ain't shit. Okay. Sure. They're great. I'm sure they're a good person. Doesn't mean you won't find other people. And if
Yeah.
you can't stop and make them a real person of like, yeah, you know what? They weren't that compassionate. No, you're right. They didn't really listen to me. It's like start to create them as a human so that you can accept them as that and be like, oh, wow. Yeah. You know what? I'm not actually into this person.
Yep. Yeah. Taking them off that pedestal is so important because it's so easy to, and then you just fixate on it and you're like stuck. You're 100% stuck. And that is so, it takes your entire day, like it takes your life away if you're going to live in that energy. So, yeah.
And we have to remember time is finite.
Yeah.
We don't get this back. So it's
Yeah.
like if you want to waste 2, 3 years, you're not getting that back. I know some of these people will be like, I it's been 3 years and I can't get over them. And I'm like, I am sorry, but that sounds like a cop out. That sounds like bullshit. Like that sounds like you're just self-inflicting at this point.
Yeah. No, yeah. And people like normalize that. And I'm like, oof, no. 3 years?
Times
No.
that 10 people you date. So 30 years?
Yeah. No.
Exactly.
And how do you help someone that's like, I can't even think about dating anyone else yet. I can't imagine any relationship to be better than this? Energy.
I just allow them to be in that space. Like, okay, so then how can you show up for yourself? What do you need right now? You'd
Mhm.
be shocked. You'd be shocked how many people I'll be like, what is it that you want? And you could see that they're just like, what? And I'm like, so you've never even asked yourself, like, what do I need?
Mhm.
What is it that I need in a relationship? What do I want out of a relationship? We're so focused on, but are they going to choose me? You haven't stopped to think about, but did I choose them?
Mhm.
Did I choose them or did they just choose me?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like, allow yourself, feel it, mourn it. You want to have your little pity party? Go ahead, have your little pity party.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's the most important step. We don't create enough space for that. Like that the reason that these are also coming up, like these feelings can also be archaic. Like this grief might not just be from this breakup, it can be from so many of the old breakups or even other grief that you haven't felt. So it's like just allow yourself to feel that.
Process it, allow it. Instead, don't listen to your fucking friends. Get over it, move on. I would just sound like, fuck off, man. Like
Yeah.
you're not on my journey. And like that's it. You don't need to prove anything to anybody. If you say that, if you feel like I need to take another month, you take another fucking month. But eventually, there does come a day where, yeah, you're gonna need to be triggered again. You know, I think a lot of people do that. I just want to be single. Being single is the best. And I'm like, yeah, it's a cop out. You just don't want to be triggered. That's all. You don't want to be inconvenienced by having to deal with what's going on. And if you don't trust yourself, it's going to be really fucking difficult to navigate these waters.
Yeah, I hear that all the time. Like, I love being single. And I'm like, I think you just are avoiding intimacy and being hurt and having your heart open again and the possibility of that grief. So, yeah.
But yeah, let me know how that goes for you.
Uh, and what do you tell someone that's in that energy of like can't find someone to commit to them?
What I say to that is like, one, yeah, okay, that can happen. I went through like a couple of years of dating people that weren't ready to commit, but you know what really stopped that was me walking away when people were telling me that. Instead of me trying to change them or convince them, like I was just talking to a client and it was like she went on 4 or 5 dates with this guy. And I kept telling her, like, please talk about intentions. No, sure enough, fifth fucking date. She asked him, like, so do you want a relationship? And he was like, oh, I just thought we were casual. And she was like, and I kept saying, and I was like, the way he's acting towards you, I was like, this person's casual. Like, this is not somebody that's being intentional. And I was like, I think you guys want two different things. It's just obvious. This guy, like, doesn't try to see you. And he was like, no, and he did the bullshit of like, it's not that like I'm opposed to it, but like for the right person. And if it happens, I'm not trying to rush into it. And I was like, he's not open. This is where you need to say, no, thank you. I wish you all the best, but this is not something I want to keep doing. I was like, otherwise, talk to me in a year when he's still saying the same shit. Because now at this point, he's told you. This person has now told you, so now he can do whatever the fuck he wants because in his mind, it's well, she knows, right? And let her know. So if that doesn't align with what it is that you want, you got to get really comfortable walking away from people.
Mm-hmm.
And that there's a difference between I'm not ready for a relationship in general, or I'm not ready with one with you because I don't know you well enough. Those are two very different experiences. And getting curious about that is what's important here. But I think if somebody is, oh, I keep dating guys that don't commit, yeah, start asking some serious fucking questions. You'll run them off after the first date. You won't hear from them again. Good job.
Yeah. Anytime one of my clients are afraid to do that, I'm like, well, then you're afraid of the truth because you already know what they're about to say.
100%. It's like you know as well as I do. It's like we could write this shit.
Yeah.
But that's okay. That's your journey.
Yeah. What if you're that person on the other end that's like, you're saying these things about, oh, well, I'm not ready yet to commit kind of energy?
I think for that person, like, as long as you're being honest about it, like, that's okay. You know, everybody's dating for different reasons. Like, if you're sitting there being like, I'm just dating to get my feet wet again, like, I don't really know what I'm looking for, it's like, that's okay to let people know. Just be fucking honest about your goddamn intentions. Have some integrity with the way that you show up. If you're out and you're saying, hey, I'm not interested in a relationship, fucking tell this person. Stop waiting 6 weeks to be like, oh, what? You thought we were dating? What? Because
Mm.
you're fucking afraid of confrontation because
Yeah.
you don't want to hurt other people. So instead, it's let me just pretend. So it's like, if you're okay, you can. I have people ask me all the time, like, is it okay to have a one night stand? I'm like, what? You don't have needs? Of course it is.
Hmm.
You have to give yourself permission to be okay to show up like that, but you also have to be okay that people are going to walk away from you because of that. You
Hmm.
can't have it all.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's just that easy though. It's that intentions. And this is something I hear all the time. Well, I don't know what I want.
Listen, if you don't know what you want, that's okay. You can not, but maybe what we need to do is start looking introspectively about what it is that you want. Maybe start taking a fucking piece of pen and a paper,
Yes.
or paper and a piece of whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. Take a fucking pen to paper and start writing out, what do I like about relationships? What do I want? What don't I like? You want to know your non-negotiables and boundaries? What are you no longer willing to accept?
Yeah.
Start there and then start to work your way through of like, yeah, actually I do like this or I don't like that. Get fucking clear. So that way, when you see it out in the wild, you could either walk away or invite it in.
Yeah. Yeah. Anytime someone tells me that, I'm like, well, you just haven't taken time to sit and reflect because it is not that hard. I'm like, think about your friendships even. Start there. What do you like and not like in those dynamics? Like, it's not that complicated. And I think, I don't know, I guess it's just a form of avoidance or I don't know what it is, but like,
It's
yeah.
disconnection. I think some people feel guilty for having needs and going, well, who am I? And I
Right.
can't, when you're so used to worrying about everybody else
Mm.
that it doesn't even stop to think you feel selfish. I've had people say, am I a narcissist for thinking that? And I'm like, oh my God, the fact that you're
Oh,
even asking means
that
you're a
term is
motherfucking
being thrown
narcissist.
around. Yeah, so much. It's so bad. Like now it's
It's
just anytime I say it with oh well he's a narcissist, I'm like, no, no.
like, dude, a narcissist is like, no, he's not a narcissist just because he didn't want to see you again. It's like, until my father was a narcissist and my ex was one that I was married to, until you've experienced what a true fucking narcissist is like, then you come back and you're like, I got it. It's like, no, this isn't just the fact that he didn't call you.
Yeah. It's so bad.
Yeah. Welcome
Uh,
back to the bumper stickers.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, I think we cleared a lot of them, so hopefully people have some new insights.
I hope so. I hope that if anybody got anything from this fucking conversation, it's a little bit of clarity over some shit.
Yeah, just a little bit. And the last thing you just talked about is like the calling back, the phone call, the texting, like there's so much anxiety in this realm. And what does it mean if he's not texting back in this amount of time or if he's too busy? I'm like, okay, well, what do you think that means? If he's too busy, that he doesn't have time to text me back, like this kind of energy.
There's a difference. There's nobody busier than someone that's not interested. There's a difference between, hey, I got caught up today. Sorry, I couldn't respond. And somebody intentionally putting 15 hours in between every text. Every time you try to make plans with them. Sorry, I'm busy. Sorry, something came up. Listen, nobody is that busy. Okay. And fucking any of us can find the time in the day if I want to. But at the end of the day, it's about intentions. What's their bandwidth? If somebody's telling you that they're busy all the time, then fucking give it some space. Remove yourself. Oh, all right, you're so busy. Well, then it doesn't sound like a relationship is something that you have time for.
Mhm.
Because it could just be, it might not have anything to do with you. It might be that they're not interested. My mama said, she was like, how do you know that they want a relationship with you in the way that you want one? It's not just as simple as, oh, they want a relationship, so do I. Yeah, there's a lot of nuance. Otherwise, we'd all be shacked up. So I think if somebody is just not a big texter, but they call you, they FaceTime you, they make consistent plans, okay, I think we can use our fucking mind to go, hey, they show up in different ways. But if somebody isn't showing up in all ways and with texting, great, you have your fucking answer. This person's not trying to get to know you on a deeper level.
Yeah. And stop making that mean something about you and instead just take that as information that, okay, this isn't what I want.
And even if it is something about you, even if it is, even if somebody says she talks too much, go fuck yourself. My partner loves that I talk a lot. You know what I mean? Like, even if it is somebody saying, well, I don't like that about you. Well, good. I like that about me.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so good. Well, then I'm not for you.
Yes. Yeah. Uh, if only people could really like anchor into that. It's so much harder said than done, especially when,
Oh,
yeah.
this has been years of me getting to this point. It takes time, but you got to start somewhere, right? The neural pathways have to start to be created so that they become cemented.
Yeah, and just remembering that too, like even you just said, like in for me too, it's taken so much time. Like people see these people online are like, oh, well, they did this. I'm like, well, you don't actually know their story of how they got there. So you have to give bring in some,
Exactly. It's like you don't know the shit that they ate to get to this level. You're only seeing the success. You don't know what's on the iceberg under it.
yeah, exactly. Okay. I feel complete. Is there anything else you feel like sharing about anything?
No, I feel like we gave like some really good fucking information. I'm stoked about this.
Yeah, me too. Okay. And the last question of the podcast is, what is one of your favorite romantic memories you have with your lover?
One of my favorite romantic memories. I think it was, oh, for some reason, I go with like what comes to me first.
Yeah.
For some reason, I remember our first trip to Joshua Tree. And God, this is going to sound wild and I'm going to go for it. This is a judgment-free zone, I hope.
Yes.
So we went on this trip. We're in California. We ingest cannabis. And she gave us this like THC drink. And we were on this vacation. And God, this is going to sound wild that this is the most romantic thing that my partner's ever done, but it just shows you how much he cares about me and loves me. And I drank too much. And so we got so high, I didn't know which way was up, right, down, or center. And
Then
I was sitting outside trying to meditate. That sounded like a great idea. I was getting angry. I could feel it, but I forgot that I drank. And so I was just like, what's happening to me? Like, what's going on? And so I tried to meditate and I come inside and I'm just walking and I was like, I am not okay. And he just looks at me and he's like, let me help you. We had the best sex of our life. And after I remember looking at him and I was like, how did you know? And he was like, I know what my girl needs. And that was literally the moment where I was like, I fucking love you so much that you knew in this moment I needed to get dick down really well because that's where I was at. And I just love my partner. That was the first time I ever really noticed, like, wow, you're really attuning to my needs. You're really my partner's not the romantic kind of guy. He's not going to do the roses and the stuff. But sometimes even I'll come home and there'll be like I said, like a snack or a cupcake or something where I'm like, I know you love and care about me so much that romance shows up differently for you.
oh, it's so sweet. I love that. Mom, thanks for sharing that.
Of course, that includes getting fucked up, doing drugs, and having sex. But here we are, right?
Yeah.
Everybody has their journey.
Yeah, I love cannabis, so no shame to
Hmm.
that. And I think it is actually so cute when you like zoom out to watch how men love us and they're
I
so
know.
attuned to our bodies. And we think we like you just said, like if they're not giving me the roses and they don't love me, it's like it's so look how they actually love you and like actually see from their perspective because they're for sure doing things. They love to take care of you. So it's like, yeah.
100%.
And so I just one more thing is what does romance to you mean?
What's so funny? I think romance to me is just someone showing up for me in a way that's not me asking them to do so.
Mhm.
Like being thoughtful in a way like even my partner will like, I'll come down, like he knows I have my period, and he'll be like, I made you period tea and I set up your medicine and here's your heating pad. And it's like, that's romance to me. To me, that is romantic of like, wow, you thought about what was going to make me happy and what was going to, not buying me a bunch of roses and taking me to Paris. Like that could be very rehearsed. To me, true romance is like real intimacy of really knowing and attuning to my needs. That's super fucking romantic to me.
Yes, I agree. The thoughtfulness that's my favorite part about it. And people make it out like, oh, I'm not a romantic. I'm like, mm, it's
In your own ways.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because like it's really just comes down to being cute and thoughtful and thinking of the other person. Like that is what romantic means. So yeah, I think we overcomplicate it and we're just like throw it out the door if it's not this like hallmark thing. But really I think we're all romantic. So in our own ways. Yeah.
I agree.
Mm. Yay. Okay, so how can someone work with you? What do you have to offer? Share the goods.
So right now, if you want to listen to Do the Work podcast, you can go if you're an anxious gal or boy and or they, whoever the fuck you are, and you want some help, there's that. I'm starting a new program I'm super excited about. I was taking 40 new clients a month and I just can't. It's just, yes, exactly. It's killing me. So I'm working with like an intensive group of people for 3 months at a time. Obviously, it could go on. So I am closing that out soon. So there's just a few spots left on that. And yeah, just just joining on the socials, Sabrina.Zohar or Do the Work podcast is just a good way to support and kind of get into the community.
Yay. Thanks so much for all your beautiful truth today.
Thanks, Lexy, for having me. I really appreciate it.
You made it to the end of the episode, so now it's time for our snuggly heart breath of the day. Place a hand or both hands, if it's safe to do so, over your heart and take a big breath into your heart center. Open your mouth and let it go. I'm so grateful to have shared this time with you. If you enjoyed this convo, please share with your besties and your fam. And if you're a visual person like me, fly over to YouTube and watch the video. If you want to do a random act of kindness today, please leave a 5-star review so more people in the world can get their heart snuggled. You're helping tremendously when you do this, so thank you so much. And as a gift for doing so, I'll give you my Soften Your Heart Medi that feels like an exhale and a hug from within. When you leave a review and email me the screenshot to heartsnuggles@alivetoenjoy.com, you can also find the email in the show notes and you'll get the free meditation. Sending you the warmest, comfiest hug and lots of unexpected blessings your way. Remember that every single person just wants to be loved. So how can you be loved today?